teams on the threshold of sailing glory. Only one will win. Today, the fleet leave Gothenburg, Sweden on the final leg of this dramatic 13th edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. Since the start, the two perfectly prepared red boats, Map Frey and Dongfeng Race Team, have been in a titanic tussle at the top of the leaderboard. In Auckland, Bauer Becking and his team Brunel were languishing in 6th place, their campaign seemingly in tatters. But in a stunning turnaround, the Dutch team took their chances, winning 3 of the next 4 legs to give them a real chance of a fairy tale comeback. After 44,000 miles battling the elements and their opposition, the stage is set for the closest finish in round-the-world racing history. Team Brunel joined Map Frey and Dongfeng Race Team in a 3-way head-to-head finale. It all comes down to a 700-mile sprint via Denmark to The Hague, where the winner takes it all for the Volvo Ocean Race trophy.
Yeah, I mean, we are in an amazing situation now. 3 boats, equal points, 1 leg to go.
But we are in the same point here. It's just amazing.
Who could have written the script like that? You couldn't have done that.
This time we have 3 boats fighting for the first place, and the only important thing is to be ahead of these 2 guys. So no matter what is the result of the leg, we have to be ahead of these guys. So if they do 6 and 7, we do 5, and it's enough.
I'm very happy we are involved in these 3 boats and fighting, but we know that only one is going to win.
The last time I will be in such good position to win, so we have to give everything.
The anger Bauer may have because it's the 8th time he's trained, I think Dongfeng or Charles will have much more.
I think I have to show this. All the nails are there. Haven't been biting at all.
But it's good now, everybody see Brunel and Malfrey as a favorite. We are the underdog, we have nothing to lose.
Of course they will be thinking, why in the hell is it possible that the yellow boat is coming from being so far behind?
It is worrying, of course it is worrying.
We're not fearing now them anymore speed-wise. I think we can match them.
This is a dangerous game with 3 boats, because we know these guys are quite aggressive and sure, so they will do anything to come back and win the race.
I've got the feeling that we actually can win this thing.
One mission, we have to beat them.
Map Frey and Team Brunel sit equal at the top of the leaderboard with 65 points. Map Frey ranked 1st, having already won the tie-break deciding Import Race Series. Charles Caudrelier's Dongfeng Race Team, who was the leader at the beginning of leg 10, had a 4th place finish into Gothenburg, putting them on 64 points. But with a 19-hour lead in the elapsed time around the world, barring disaster, they'll earn a bonus point, putting them effectively also on 65. This means the top 3 boats will start the final sprint into The Hague, all tied up, equal, with the overall title and the Volvo Ocean Race trophy all on the line. There's also a bottom-of-the-table grudge match in this final leg between Dee Kufari and David Witt, just a point separating them for who will finish 6th or 7th overall. Gothenburg has been a wonderful stopover, putting on a great show over the past week. Talk Dockside has been all about the incredibly close finish, with everyone having a favourite and cheering them on with gusto and passion. It's been a final chance for teams to regroup, take a breath and saddle up for the finale. A hallmark of the Volvo Ocean Race is its history. This week, something extra special, alongside the current fleet, a boat from past editions dating right back to the original fleet that left Portsmouth in 1973.
So this is a collection of boats that have done the Whitbread Round the World Race or the Volvo Ocean Race. This is the Legends Race. It's going to race from Gothenburg to The Hague on Thursday. It will start on the same start line as the proper Round the World Race boats, the Volvo Ocean 65s. It's going to The Hague, but as a direct course. And without all this history, we've got 13 races. This is the 13th that's happening now. Without this, we really wouldn't be here now. These are the pioneers. These boats are amazing, and they've sailed around the world through all the oceans, and they're still here. Copernicus especially, still looking amazing. It's been such a special event here. The atmosphere over here this week has been quite amazing. It's so colourful. The flags, the banners, the people sitting in the cockpit. We've had so many people thronging the dock, just wanting to get up close and personal with them, asking questions. We've had quite a lot of legendary sailors, even the modern day sailors who are doing this leg and who are under so much pressure now on this last leg. Even they've been over to have a quick look and see where their history, where it all came from.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a beauty, isn't it?
She's a beautiful boat.
Should we have a look on board?
I think we should. So yeah, we're on Copernicus, which was one of the boats involved in the original race around the world, and it was in 1973. So yeah, one of the kind of the veterans of the race. So it's pretty cool to be on board and have a look around.
Generally, this is unchanged in comparison to the 73-74.
Yeah, so we've just been speaking to one of the original crew. So he's a genuine kind of legend of the race. It's cool to listen to his stories and kind of see his perspective of the race. He was only 27 years old, so very similar age to me. And it was kind of groundbreaking, I guess, for them. It was an adventure, and they had nobody really to follow in the footsteps of, so it was quite a cool yeah, race for them. Well, this one won in 78, so 5 years later.
Yeah.
And then the same skipper won the next time
Won
as well.
the race. He's the only skipper to do it twice.
It's good.
It's pretty amazing. What a beautiful looking boat.
She's a good looking, I like the cream.
Yeah. Bit of a contrast though to what we sail, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, to be on a boat like this and of age like this, where I suppose this basically inspired the whole Volvo Ocean Race legend story. You know, for future generations, this boat was one of those original ones, so it's amazing to be on a boat like this. It really is. It's a bit of history. So these early races basically created the romance of the race, I think, and they built it into what it is. Those guys were the ones that ventured off into the Southern Ocean and off at sea for 45 days. They did that, and now we can do the race, basically. So they've inspired such a huge thing, and it's amazing. I'm so thankful that those guys did it first, though. We got gold plated. Oh,
mate.
Oh,
How's that? Is it good?
The look at it. Angled flooring.
Toilet paper somewhere?
Toilet paper.
Yeah. Wow, it's
For the Queen, mate. I reckon I'd use this one. It'd be nice to see people looking back on the boats that we race now going, oh wow, they look like dinosaurs. And I think that'd be a real credit to how far sailing has come and will continue to go. I mean, we look at these boats and go, wow, they've changed so much since what we sail now. And if our boats could then do the same, it'd really be a step forward in sailing.
Well, if there was ever a moment to swing the lanterns and tell tales of yore, this is it. We had about an hour ago the legends start, all of these boats who've competed in the race previously. And remember, back in the day, this race was for misfits, for bounders, for adventurers. And we had Amber Sail doing a great job right off the start line, old Volvo 60, and all sorts of boats from the old silk cut Telefonica blue. There's Rothmans right there, previous skipper in the 97 race with Laurie Smith. Flyer with the legend Connie van Rietschouten, still with the record of winning 2 in a row there. Copernicus with Bronislaw Tarnacki back on the helm. Look at that, what a special moment when they went round. There's Neptune right there, the 59-foot sloop in the 77-78 race as they all head out of the Southern Archipelago to the Hague. Well, we had an amazing dock out, and the band gave everyone a lighter moment, but I can tell you, for the teams and the skippers, there was plenty of game faces. Charles Caudrelier, can he win at his second attempt? Can he take the Chinese team? And I tell you, those young Chinese sailors have done a great job. Can Bauer Becking find the fairy tale finish for his 8th time, helped by Pete Burling? And can Matt Frey win after 10 attempts by the Spanish team, led by Xavi Fernandez, to finally take it home to Spain for the Volvo Ocean Race? It was quite a lot of emotion, tension, all on board the dock as we waved them off the final leg. Here's the course. Here we are in Gothenburg, and the course brought to you by Vestas Wind. All of their climatological data brought from their wind farms all over the world, and it gives you the idea of where the light spots are around the land and the acceleration zones. Darker are stronger breeze, and this we've got a northwesterly breeze, so it's going to be at about 295. It'll be a fetch pretty much out to a turning mark. Then the boats will head north towards the eastern coast of Norway, and that'll be upwind. Then it is a downwind to Aarhus in Denmark. Any of you who are around there, get out. You'll see the boats fly by around the top of Denmark, and then it's a choice whether you go through the zone or go outside into the North Sea. That's when it starts to get light. On board with Matt Frey right now. Sophie Cizek there at the back. Tamara Etchegoyen in the middle. She, the gold medal winner from London 2012. On the helm, it's Pablo Arate, and let's go down on the water with our man Nick Bice. Set the scene for us, Bicey.
Well, it couldn't get much better than this. A nice 14 to 16 knots west-northwest with a nice and what will be a fast fetch out on starboard tack. All the boats are fully stacked up on the starboard side, so they're getting ready to go. There's going to be a couple of nerves here, though, so let's stay tuned.
Well, Bicey, you've done this race before. When we interviewed the skippers at the Dockout show, we got some fairly stock answers. We're cool, we're calm, everything's good. We're going to go with process, but tell us what the real feeling is. There must be some nerves on board right now, Bicey.
Well, some definite nerves with those top three that hug the top of the leaders board, and I mean, cool and calm. They've all been taught to say that, but they'll have a whole heap of butterflies in their stomach, and they'll want to get out of here reasonably clean. Well, they all say that, but that'll be a different story when it's 2 minutes to go to the start line. They're here to race, and they're here to race fast.
Yeah, well, with 2 minutes and 20 to go, Bicey, tell us about conditions. Looks pretty nice out there.
Oh, beautiful, and it's complemented with a fantastic flotilla out on the out in the channel also. A fetch all the way out, so no tacking out of the channel, which is quite self-preserving from a boat point of view, because she's pretty dangerous if you get on the wrong side of the couple of rocks out here. Yeah, there are plenty of uncharted rocks on the way out, as we saw famously with, you'll have to remind me, I think Telefonica in the 08-09 race with Sci-Fi navigating. He was actually sailing with Bauer Becking. They famously went aground as they came out of Marstrand, right, Bicey? Yeah, that's right, and that'll be in the back of Sci-Fi's mind for sure, and of course Bowers as well. So let's hope we don't see a repeat of that. Okay, I'm also joined in the commentary booth with Sally Barkow, Olympian, past sailor on SCA in the last edition, and you did a couple of legs on Team Brunel. Sally, just give us a summary of the feeling on board, on the dock this morning. Excitement.
Yeah, really a lot of excitement, but kind of an interesting vibe, I thought. It was quite serious as all the sailors walked down the dock. You can feel that they're very focused for every minute in this next leg. It's going to be quite short and quite sharp, and they need to really stay focused. They weren't giving much away. They were all saying how much they were ready to go, but I think the nerves will be happening right now with we're inside a minute to the gun. And crucial to get a decent start, as we've seen in so many of these offshore legs. Everyone thinks, well, it's a long leg, but this one actually the shortest, only 700 miles, got to nail the start. That's right, and it's a course. They're going to turn a few marks, they're going to go upwind, they're going to go downwind, and they're going to have kind of, we'll see what the angle ends up being towards the Hague, but it's going to be a lot of like race course management decisions, which we're not really used to on offshore legs. With 30 seconds to go, Dongfeng race team towards the windward end with Sun Hung Kai Scallywag, Vestas 11th Hour Racing just between them, down the course starting area, Axo Nobel, and then Matt Frey down at the leeward end. But Matt Frey and Team Brunel very close to each other with 10 seconds to go. Folks, this is it. After 45,000 miles of racing, for the first time in round the world history, 3 teams have one final 700-mile leg to go to decide who will be crowned the winner. There goes the gun. Legends will be made in this one last dramatic sprint. It's all on the line. Great start at the windward end from Dongfeng, from Sun Hung Kai Scallywag, and from Vestas 11th Hour Racing. Axo Nobel, okay as well, but down at the pin end, drama between Team Brunel and Matt Frey.
down on the water. Bicey, tell us.
Oh, I tell you what, if Scallywag wasn't a hair's just behind the line, I don't know what but Mr. Lee was actually steering Sung Hung Kai's Scallywag, and he nailed it. I didn't see what happened down on the bottom end of the line, but these windward boats now are sneaking their way out beautifully.
Well, Matt Frey got pushed out by Team Brunel. They didn't lay the pin end of the line, and they had to come back. So drama already right at the start. Let's go up to the helicopter for his perspective. Niall.
Unbelievable start line. Team Brunel, Matt Frey locking horns. We knew that was going to happen. Dongfeng Race Team managed to stay out of that fray, and the first point has got to go to Bauerbecking on board Team Brunel. Matt Frey got barged out of the line. They've had to loop back round, and they now start this short sprint leg with so much at stake on the back foot.
Wow, Matt Frey on the back foot and Dongfeng just squeezing out ahead of both Vestas 11th Hour Racing and Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. We got great pictures right down on the water, and now we're in the drone and just to leeward there. Brunel to leeward of Dongfeng Race Team. So early doors, and we haven't seen Dongfeng Race Team start very well in the whole of this 9-month Volvo Ocean Race, Sally, but they've done it when it counts.
They sure did, and I think they chose a very good position on the start line. They stayed clear of Matt Frey and Brunel and the options of chaos that might happen between them, and gave Scallywag a little bit of room, didn't squeeze Vestas 11th Hour too tight, stuck their own timing and their own game plan, and now they're just off to the races. You can see the details in their boat speed as they power over Brunel.
Yeah, Dongfeng in the windward position, so that means that they can put dirty air down onto Brunel. And remember, this is between these three boats. Whoever wins, wins. If it finished like this, Dongfeng would take the trophy. Well, still 700 miles to go, so let's not call it too soon. There we are, on board with Dongfeng Race Team. Pascal Peggery. His iPad navigating, keeping his eyes on the prize. Wow, what a fantastic start. Great stuff. Now, we'd like to welcome all of our viewers on Facebook, on Twitter, all of our social media channels watching the start of this epic race. And you've got to remember back to previous races, we were all done. The winner had been crowned by this stage. It is extremely unusual situation to have it all tied up, not just between two boats, but between three. Dongfeng Race Team, Team Brunel, and Matt Frey. Let's go up to the helicopter for his perspective. Niall.
Well, from our view at the moment, we're just hovering to the right-hand side of the fleet, and it's Team Axonabel who've drawn first blood. They are blasting away, and they don't have anybody close enough to them to cause any real problems. Dongfeng Race Team, like you say, in this position right now, the trophy is theirs, but there's a lot of miles to go. They have to worry about Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. If Team Brunel in that leeward position can hold on to the breeze that's slipping through Team Axonabel's sails, they might be able to punch out into second place at that first turning mark, and it's coming up very soon.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Niall. We'll be coming back to him throughout this departure. Sally, now on board, nerves just starting to settle a bit.
Nerves just starting to settle. You know, after that gun is the most excitement. People really need to, take a deep breath, lock into their groove, and now they can pick their head up out of the boat a little bit, figure out how they want to approach this next turning mark, and also thinking about what the first maneuver is going to be after they, make the turn to the right.
Okay, and some small mistakes, absolutely crucial, and Matt Frey have made one already right out of the gate.
Yeah, we've seen them maybe not make such a big mistake ever on the starting line in this race, but we've seen them have a little hiccups in the last couple legs. A few times they've managed to power back through the fleet with a few good decisions, and good boat handling really have saved them. And in this leg, they have that chance. So it would be interesting to see how they take these next two marks and what happens, basically. If they're able to pick away one or two of the boats, make some good tactical calls up to Norway.
So that pin end where Matt Frey got a little bit tied up with Brunel, do you think that's a function of those pre-race nerves? Pablo Arate, as you said, has usually been faultless on these starts.
Yeah, it looked a little bit weird to me. Matt Frey was to leeward the right-of-way boat, should have been able to have room at the pin. I think they got quite slow, and when you get slow in these boats, it's a possibility that they lost a bit of steering and couldn't actually make the pin end. So I'm not sure that Brunel actually forced them into a situation, besides the fact they might have thought they've been too close to the line. But I think they got slow on themselves and got themselves a bit stuck.
Well, let's take a look on Virtual Eye for the replay, because it'll give us a little idea of what exactly has gone on as we see that wonderful Vestas wind windmill there. Here we go. So look at the top of screen. Matt Frey there, quite slow, trying to get into the pin end, and Brunel just to windward of them. They realise they can't get to the starting line, so they have to tack about, and I think that was just an unforced error, wasn't it? They just got too low on the ley line. Tell us how that can happen.
Yeah, and basically once they get slow, they had to, you see them sort of bear away to accelerate the boat, and then they realized they were below the ley line and they couldn't reach the mark at the angle that they were sailing. They were about to receive some bad air from the boats that had just started off the gun, and they just had to bail out, and it looks like they made that choice to bail out quite early, which probably helped them. They maybe are less farther away from the fleet right now, but still a tough position to come back from.
Yeah, down on the water, Nick Bice. We got pictures of Sun Hunkai Scallywag.
Yeah, I can see Tristan Seal actually getting the staysail ready to go up, of which Axonobel was already hoisted. They haven't unfurled it yet, but it's a little bit of follow the leader here, and someone's going to try something different and to try and get on top of each other, but not many passing lanes at all.
Not many passing lanes so far, but we are looking towards the rest of the leg. There will be plenty as they go upwind towards Norway, and then all the way downwind there'll be plenty of jibing action. But right now, Team Axo Nobel lead the fleet out of Gothenburg, followed by Dongfeng Race Team. Then it's Sun Hunkai Scallywag, then Vestas 11th Hour Racing, Team Brunel, Turn the Tide on Plastic, and Matt Frey in an extremely unusual position of 7th place, half a kilometre, 524 metres behind the leaders, Axo Nobel, but most importantly, 450 metres behind Dongfeng Race Team and also behind Team Brunel. We're on board with Team Brunel right now. Carlo Huisman there, and is that Alberto Bolzan to leeward, just trimming on the sails. Here we go, we're just listening. They're talking about getting a little upwind trim as they head out of this brilliant stopover that we've had here in Gothenburg, where the tension, I can tell you, palpable on board all of these boats, and the dock out was definitely a moment to remember. We had all of the great and the good down on the dock, and now we can see them all line astern. And this is the problem, Sally, when you make even the smallest mistake. They just got a little low of the ley line and couldn't get up. This was Matt Frey, and now they are in 7th spot. They've got it all to do to come back.
They do, and you know, right now it might look like it is just a drag race to these next gates as they have a chance to turn the corner, but they'll be just, you know, trying to breathe that one out, basically. Okay, that was over, that happened. Let's think about the next turning mark, and there's going to be plenty of chances for each of these boats to change positions and show what they can do.
Okay, Team Axo Nobel, no crew changes on board them. Simeon Teampont, Brad Ferrand on the bow, Luke Malloy, helmsman and trimmer, Jules Salter navigating, Martine Grail, the Olympic medal winner, and now this team, the current holders of the 24-hour record in the Volvo Ocean Race. And interestingly, Martine Grail took that trophy from her father, who won it on board, Ericsson at 598 nautical miles, and she won it with 602. Dongfeng Race Team there, just to the right of screen. So Dongfeng Race Team have made a few changes. Out Justine Matreau, Liu Zi, Black, and Fabien Delahaye. They're out, and in is Stu Bannatyne, just off his win for the Newport Bermuda race. He came in hot from sailing from Newport to Bermuda. Marie Ryu is in, and Chen Jin Hao, also known as Horace, one of the superstars of Chinese sailing. He is also in, and that's with Charles Caudrelier, Caroline Brouwer, Pascal Bidegori, Kevin Escoffier, Daryl Wislang, and Jack Boutel. That is the crew on board Dongfeng Race Team. Daryl Wislang on the main sheet. Look at that, he's holding the main sheet, he's easing the main sheet out, and he's trimming it on as well. What have they got? What sort of problem on there? There's a slight problem.
I think they were just trying to control the heel of the boat, maybe too much ease. They might be adjusting the front sail there a little bit. Pascal just said they've got about less than a mile, I think, before they come up 10 degrees, and then they come back down for a few more miles. So they just made a choice to not fully go out on the outrigger. Maybe they're just balancing out with the main and the front sail.
Okay, well, we're on board with Dongfeng Race Team, and I can tell you that Team Brunel have got no crew changes. Also the same with Matt Frey. There's Dongfeng, they're going to bow down, they're going fast. Why no deploy of that staysail? And tell us what staysail is.
Staysail is just basically adding extra sail area, and with these sails, yeah, it's the one that's hoisted there. It's still furled up. It's between the main and the front sail, and it's not deployed, so it's still furled. It's adding a tiny, tiny bit of drag, but basically once the angle becomes correct, once they bear off that another 10 degrees, I'm assuming, it's going to be wide enough. So the you basically deploy the staysail based on your apparent wind angle. If it's too narrow, if you're going too close to the wind, the staysail doesn't do anything for you. So as long as you're cracked off enough, and you need the extra power. Right now they all look very powered up, and they might not be deploying it because of that, but we might see it as they come a little bit more off the wind, kind of adding a little more sail area.
So in third, it's right now Sun Hunkai Scallywag with skipper David Witt, Luke Parkinson, also known as Parko, Annemieke Bess, Ben Piggott, Libby Greenhouse, the navigator, Alex Goff, Antonio Fontes, Tristan Seal, and Jack McCartney. So they've had no changes either. Let's go up into the helicopter. What do you see, Niall?
What I see is the culmination of nearly 9 months of racing, and at the moment it is all going the way of Dongfeng Race Team. They've managed to hold on to that very slender gap between Team Axonobel in first, Sun Hunkai Scallywag challenging them in third. Team Brunel just simply couldn't keep the breeze, and they have been pushed right back, and they're going to have to wait their turn. We are now in a reaching lineup out to the first turn. Meanwhile, at the front, Dongfeng Race Team, they look like they've shaken off Sun Hunkai Scallywag, and they're now trying to take a bite out of Simeon Team Point's Team Axonobel. They could push even further away from their main rivals.
It looks very close between those two right at the top there. Have Dongfeng managed to get inside Team Axonobel at this turning mark, Niall?
Well, right now, they're to windward. They are overlapped, and they're trying to roll over the top of them. The breeze here is incredibly puffy, and it's all going to be about judging, waiting, watching, finding the breeze, and then executing it absolutely perfectly. You've got to stay on your toes here, and Dongfeng Race Team, just in the last 100 meters or so, has outpaced Team Axonobel. If they can keep this up, they're only a boat length or two away from putting the bad air into Simeon Team Point sails.
Yeah, we've got pictures from onboard Dongfeng Race Team right now, and it is super close. Axonobel actually pushing them up, a little bit of a luffing match. Let's go down onto the water. Nick Bice.
Oh, she's all on down here between Axonobel and Dongfeng. Literally a metre between the windward rudder of Axonobel and Dongfeng. So Dongfeng have just had to back it off half a notch just to get a bit of in a bit of clear water, and now Axo have got the hammer down once again.
Okay, and to Sally, tell us about the rules situation right here between the purple boat right there and Dongfeng Race Team, Axonobel.
Yeah. So it's a windward boat keep clear situation, but they did have this turning mark. So basically Dongfeng came in and had room at the mark, but then as soon as they're past the mark, they do need to keep clear, and they don't want to sail any extra distance, to be honest. So they're going to back off a little bit, not be overlapped, not get luffed. I mean, Axonobel has all the rights to luff Dongfeng head to wind, basically, and stop the whole game if they want. Not in anybody's interest to do that, so that's why they're going to back off, take a little bit of separation to windward, so that they can actually just probably, it looks to me like they're going a lot faster than Axonobel, so they probably should be able to power over the top of them in due time.
Wow, no quarter given in this one. Dongfeng Race Team want to stretch their legs. They want to get as much distance in front of their rivals, Team Brunel and Mapfreight, as they possibly can. Every inch counts, and it may well come down to just boat lengths when we get to the finish in The Hague. So only control the race if you're ahead, and that is what Dongfeng Race Team are trying to do. There they go. Axonobel now just put the bow down a little bit and stretched out there. Dongfeng Race Team in second, Sun Hunkai Scallywag in third place, and 3 of the teams have got an extra person on board that they're going to sail with. Sun Hunkai Scallywag have got the owner of Sun Hunkai, Seng Kwang Lee, and he has actually been driving the boat out of this leg departure. And then Paolo Mirpuri, he's on board Turn the Tide on plastic. They're going to sail the entire leg down to The Hague. What an opportunity for them. And then on Vestas 11th Hour Racing, it's Roy Disney, who has been a long-time supporter of the team. And Nick Bice, you sailed with Roy Disney some years ago, right, Bicey?
Yeah, I had the pleasure to work for Roy Senior, as a matter of fact, throughout the Pyewacket campaign, and what an absolute gentleman. And seeing his son Roy doing it around the ways here, and the way he has supported both Mark and Charlie in their endeavours. He's done a fantastic job and he's contributed wonderfully to that team.
And I'm pretty sure that we just saw Seng-Huang Lee, the owner of the boat and the man in charge driving Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. He's pretty experienced.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not only just driving now, but he was driving at the start and arguably won the start. So what a fantastic effort.
Okay, here we go for the first jumper off Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. Here we go, and we're going to see what sort of jump they give us. The owner is not jumping off Seng-Huang Lee, so they've got an extra jumper on board. There we go. Nice, well done, that lady. And she has just, there's the deploy of the life jacket. She puts her hand up. This is all very well choreographed. And then brought on board, no problem there, well done. And they've got to get themselves out a little bit away from the other boats. It still gives me nervous moments, Sally.
It sure does. That was quite a high leap she had.
Yeah, down to the water. Nick Bice, you saw it.
Oh, absolutely, and I think Mr. Lee actually just gave the boat a little more hill just to make it as difficult as possible.
Okay, let's go up into the helicopter for his perspective. Niall.
Well, right now, we've got the entire fleet lined up. We are just hovering alongside Mapfre, and what they can see in front of them is Team Brunel, one boat away, and then Dongfeng Race Team starting to stretch ahead. This is going to feel like a very long leg for Mapfre. It's a sprint race all the way to the Hague with the flyby of Aarhus. Around about 1,000 miles with the extra marks that have been placed in the course at the moment. It's going to go by in the blink of an eye for the fans, but for Mapfre, they need to start closing down this distance. Up ahead, Team Axel Nobel, they've weathered the attack of Charles Cordrelia, but Dongfeng Race Team are comfortable right now. Sun Hun Kai Scallywag behind them aren't going to cause any problems. Dongfeng Race Team might be able to start pushing out over the top of Team Axel Nobel in the next half an hour or so, and that is just going to look even better for Chinese fans.
Well, great to see you up there in the helicopter, Niall. I don't know if you've upset anyone in the helicopter, but you look like you're dressed for the getting ready to get pushed out. You got your offshore gear on?
Well, the plan is, I've got my offshore gear. The plan is that what we're going to do is we're going to be staying with these boats for the next few days. So we're going to be going out as far as the range will allow us to go. That means we're going to be over water. So we're taking the sensible precautions in terms of safety gear. But I tell you what, I would not give up this seat for all the money in the world. This is the best view in the house, and this leg, this final leg, you could not script it. It's going to be absolutely incredible, and I am just so thrilled to be able to follow this competition from up here.
Okay, well, I thought it was a lady jumping off Sun Hun Kai Scallywag, but it's actually Mike, who was wearing his Pippi Longstocking wig, just having a bit of fun with it there on board Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. David Witt, quite a character, and that is, I guess, why they're called the Scallywags. But pictures right here, as you said, Niall, Dongfeng Race Team really putting the hammer down, and they are very close to Team Axo Nobel. There's only a boat length or two in it, and I just think that the Chinese team just a nudge faster than Team Axo Nobel and keep coming into them, Sally.
That's very true, and I see, as you know, the helicopter shots that we can see as they go and pan the leeches of the sails, you can kind of notice possibly that Dongfeng are sailing with a bit more of an open leech on their jib and a balanced mainsail, and I think it's letting Charles Cordelier just drive the boat and let it rip, basically. And if you sail with too tight of sails, you get the imbalance going on. And I think they're just wishing that Axel Nobel weren't there so they could extend their lead more.
Yeah, but here we go. Let's go on board. Let's see if we can hear, because Charles Cordelier talking to the boat in front of him, trying to get them to come down a little bit there. He was waving to them, saying we need to go down a few degrees. He wants to try and get every bit ahead of his two rivals, Team Brunel and Mapfre are well behind right now. Whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting as this angle is opened up a bit, the fleet is spread out a little bit, and you see Charles just wishing Axel Nobel to go down to, like I said, extend the miles out. That's what really matters. Don't get held up. Don't get on this little one-on-one battle that doesn't matter to him. He doesn't have much of a choice. He can't go through to leeward because then they'll be in their bad air. So Often you'll see them just sit on the leeward corner, like they are right there, and just pushing them as fast as they can, and something will happen on the next turn, I think.
Right, why can't Dongfeng race team go above them?
Because AkzoNobel doesn't want that. So basically they're going to hold them up, and they're going to keep coming up, and sail a longer course, and could stick them head to wind. They have that in their rights. But basically they want to just be extending on their own course, sailing their own race, and not getting messed up with AkzoNobel.
Yeah. Okay, well, great pictures, and Sun Hun Kai Scallywag, and they've all deployed. Well, up in the helicopter, Niall, that looks like an incredible view you've got there of the southern archipelago coming out of Gothenburg.
It's an absolutely fantastic view, and what's really striking is how white the water is behind the boat. It's all to do with the spectator fleet that have come out here. There are so many boats following this fleet, pushing the boats out towards that finish line in The Hague. Right now, we're just seeing the top 3 boats deploy their J3 stay sail, so they're happy that they're going to be footing away and going onto a reach. And just an interesting thing that's happening here with Dongfeng race team, Sally's absolutely right. They want to sail their own race. The bigger battle is what's going on with Mafre and Team Brunel. But let's not forget that Charles Caudrelier has not yet won a leg of the Volvo Ocean Race. And I wonder whether he's also hungry for that leg win. To do that, he's going to have to get into first place, and soon.
Now, Niall, you've talked to Charles Caudrelier in all of your great daily shows that you've done. And what do you feel like his psychology is? Tell us about the inner man.
Well, it's interesting. From what we observe on the Daily Show, we dial into the boats every day, check up with the skippers. There's a real difference in personality between Charles Caudrelier, Bauer Becking, and Xabi Fernandez. Xabi, as a skipper, he's very quiet. His emotions always very level. Well, Charles Caudrelier, a solo sailor, he's not used to keeping his emotions in check for the rest of the team. If he's happy, you see it. He's elated. If he's having a bad day, and he puts that emotion out there. He doesn't hide it from the team as well. And it's difficult for the crew to really keep their own emotions in check and keep their own fears and nervousness under control when you've got a skipper that's wearing it on his sleeve. There's no doubt that he's fast. There's no doubt that he's got a good crew around him, and he leads that crew incredibly well, but it's a different style to what we see in some of the other sailors.
Okay, wonderful. Dongfeng race team, some of the inside action. And just behind Dongfeng race team, it's Sun Hun Kai Scallywag, then Vestas 11th Hour Racing, and then Team Brunel, also equal on points, 65 points. Dongfeng Racing will get that extra bonus. Here we go with Team Brunel, and there's Bauer Becking on the windward side. He's keeping his weight out to try and get them going as fast as possible. The gold medalist and America's Cup winner, Pete Burling, he is driving right now. And an inside story to all of this, we see these 3 teams battling it out, is between Pete Burling and his crew in the America's Cup and in the Olympics, Blair Tuke on board Mafre. Can Pete Burling win the famed Triple Crown in sailing? It has never been done before. A gold medal, winning the America's Cup and winning the Volvo Ocean Race. And on board 2 of these boats, people can do it. Pete Burling on board Brunel and Blair Tuke on board Mafre. And we'll go down to Nick Bice. Just tell us about Team Brunel. What is the psychology? You know Bauer Becking very well. You spend all the time with the crew. Give us an insight into what they're thinking and how they are.
I must say I was quite impressed with Bauer's press conference and starting to put the other guys under pressure, which we don't normally see in yacht racing. So that made me have a little bit of a chuckle. But they've certainly got the momentum behind them to come in to try and win into Bauer's home waters also. So they're not going to leave anything on the table. They've got a fantastic crew, fantastic helmsman, and I wouldn't be surprised we're going to see a shake-up in the positioning in the not too distant future.
And up in the helicopter, Niall, you've spent a lot of time and you've seen the resurgence of Team Brunel in the last 4 legs, winning 3 out of the last 4 of them. They almost won into Newport as well to make it all 4. And just tell us your feelings about this incredible comeback. Is it going to be a fairy tale finish for Bauer and Team Brunel into The Hague?
Well, I think if you were wanting to put a bet on this race, as David Wick keeps saying he does, you've got to look at what we've seen over the last 4 legs. Right now, the momentum is with Team Brunel. And you talk about the disappointment that they had at the beginning of this edition. You talk about great comebacks. Well, Carl Langford on board Team Brunel. Talk about great comebacks in the America's Cup. He was there for one of the best. Could this be another time where he's in a team where they keep the momentum, rally round when things are down, and then come out on top form? Right now, that's the way it's going.
Sally, Team Brunel absolutely pedal down. Look at them go. There's plenty breeze on here. You've sailed on board this boat. Give us your insight into these guys and girls.
Yeah, I mean, we know they have the momentum at their hand, and they keep saying that it's everybody else's race to lose, and they're out there having a good time, and that's quite true. They've really gelled as a team. They've really used each individual on this team to the best of their ability, and that is one of Bauer's skills, I think, gelling his team together, and we've seen it happen as soon as they started all sailing. Just as this group, they've really basically, got their own rhythm down, and we've seen them have a few team building exercises and really worked with KP to try to get the communication down, and small adjustments along with the push of what they're learning about this boat day in and day out. They've become, I think, one of the favorites of this race on this leg, because they have the strongest consistency over the last couple legs, which basically neither of the red boats have, even though we think that they have, because they have from the beginning of the race.
Okay, here we go, and that is great insight into the inside workings of Team Brunel. We've done Domform Race Team. Who should we do next? Oh, let's go, Matt Frey, the other boat on 65 points. Sally, the Spanish flag on the back of the boat. 10 times they've challenged for the Volvo Ocean Race, never won it. Come pretty close. Is this the moment they can do it? Talk to us about Chabi and how he has gelled his crew together.
Yeah, I mean, Chabi's the guy who's going to lead from the middle of the boat. He leads from the middle of his team, from the pack, and obviously leading by example and always being quite calm. He's got a sailing resume that will go out the door if as long as you can imagine, and under pressure in a lot of Olympic games, and now has a chance to lead this team across the finish line in first place. What they have behind their team, we saw them taking a really nice team photo on the dock with all the supporters of MAPFRE, all the logistics, all the people making decisions behind the scenes, and they really enjoy that team atmosphere. And not to mention the skills they have on board. There's Tamara Echegoyen in the middle of the boat, and Sophie Cizik, and I was chatting with Tamara just before they docked out, and she was listing off all the high pressure situations she was in, tied for 2-3 in the Olympic gold medal in the match racing, won the last day in the 49ers World Championship. So she's just been under pressure in all of her sailing career and has come out on the top. And she says, you know what? Now here I am in the Volvo Ocean Race with a chance to win in the last leg. Who would have thought? But maybe this is what I'm made for. And I think that really speaks a lot about this team. That's what a lot of these guys are made for.
Well, what a tough customer she is, for sure. And up in the helicopter, we've got great pictures of MAPFRE. Niall, give us your summary.
Well, even from this view, I mean, we're following MAPFRE a little way behind them. I can see just how hard the crew are working on board. A minute ago, we had 4 people on the pedestals grinding away. There's still 2 of them there, putting the power into the rig. But not only that, we've got crew on the windward side with their legs over hiking. We haven't seen that much on this edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. MAPFRE know they're going to need every ounce of speed, and they're working very hard to find it in the boat.
Cool pictures right there as MAPFRE starts to put the hammer down. Rob Greenhouse now, he's on the main there, right next to Pablo Arati, just talking about how they can squeeze every bit of speed out. The boat's starting to go real fast. But MAPFRE have to pick these teams off one by one. Got to turn the tide on plastic, then they've got to get Team Brunel, and Team Brunel aren't going to give it to them very easily, that's for sure. Turning mark number 5 coming up. These are the departure marks, keeping them away from extremely rocky southern archipelago. And we're going to, just in front of MAPFRE is Turn the Tide on Plastic, and Dee will be a little grumbly right now because she has got a big grudge match between Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. There's only 1 point in it in the overall scores. Sally, she's achieved incredible things, and Dee always remains positive, but she is absolutely fighting. We've seen teams in the past who have bumped along the bottom, but not this one. They have really fought hard and done great work.
Yeah, I mean, and she put together such a young team, and how they have come through the ranks with how they sail the boat is quite impressive. And we've seen them, you know, in the top 3, a few at the beginning of the legs, and held on almost, you know, to the very top there coming into New Zealand. And now they're really, really, really pushing to not be on the bottom of this overall leaderboard, and it's doable. It's in their sights. They could be 4 or 5 points behind Scallywag and really have a tough chance, but you know, now they're only a point behind, so they can see it in their sights, and there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of change up as soon as they make this turning mark.
Yeah, we've got Martin Stromberg, and we've got, oh, look at that, Paolo Mirpuri, who is just on the leeward side there. He is enjoying his day out. He's going all the way with them to The Hague, and I saw him in the media centre this morning. I've got to say, he looked a little nervous, but he has been a great supporter of the team. He's runs Portuguese Mirpuri Foundation, which also has a very similar message to the Turn the Tide on Plastic team, and they're on a big mission to clean up the world's oceans in every way they can. And he's, look at him, getting involved.
Putting the effort in, that's quite nice, isn't it?
Right. He's one of the crew for this leg, and there's Francesca Klapcic with him. Martin Stromberg, just talk to us a little bit about some of the crew on board Turn the Tide on
Martin
Plastic.
Stromberg, Bianca Cook is in the pit there, Bernardo Freitas, one of the other Portuguese sailors. Normally, Lucas Chapman on the bow, Liz Boardley up there as well. You know, they sail with 5 and 5, so it's quite a nice dynamic between male and female of the crew, and spreading out the effort that they take on board, and kind of can add in the maneuvers.
Yeah, we got Annalisa Murphy, Bledin Mon, and Liz Wardley also on board with Dee Kifari. Next up, this is pictures of Vestas 11th Hour Racing. Charlie Enright and his team will go up to the helicopter. And Niall, give us your perspective. Vestas 11th Hour Racing, they want to bookend their first win in the leg from Alicante to Lisbon with a win from Gothenburg to The Hague.
Yeah, and let's not forget that in the last edition on Alvi Medica, Charlie Enright and Mark Towell, they won the last leg. They came into this edition, as you say, winning the first leg. It'd be a great way to go out to a team that's faced a lot of adversity. But one thing's for sure is Charlie Enright in the press conference, he was saying how proud he felt about this team, and he has every right to be. It's a team that is fast, they're determined, and in terms of hardships, they've come through them all with flying colours.
Very good, and Charlie Enright with Stacey Jackson, Mark Towell. Let's go down on the water to Nick Bice, Vestas 11th Hour Racing. We've got great pictures of them right now.
Oh, what a fantastic team, and what a pleasure to work with. As a matter of fact, all the teams can be extremely proud of the professionalism that they've all brought to this race. And from our point of view in the boatyard, what an absolute pleasure. From the sailors to the shore crew to the logistics, it's just wonderful to work with. And bit of a bittersweet coming to the end of what's been a fantastic race. 9 months of life at the extreme. We're going to take a big sigh of relief, but we're going to miss everyone.
Yeah, and you've been running the boatyard down there, and you've had the sort of shared responsibility of all the teams, but all of the teams have their own shore crews. Shout out to them, Bicey.
No, absolutely. I mean, without the shore crews of the individual teams, this race would not be a success. We are there as the boatyard to complement the shore crew, and we've had such a pleasure in doing that.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you, Bicey. And no changes on board Vestas 11th Hour Racing. Let's go down to Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. A few characters on board this boat, that is for sure. David Witt become a good friend. He's quite the guy, right, Sally?
He sure is. He's from the very beginning, he's always had a smile or a story or a very different dynamic to bring to this race.
Yeah, and he's had it all on. It's been tough for him in so many ways. And here we've got great pictures of them. Bicey, down to you. Just give us your perspective on Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. It's been a roller coaster ride.
Oh, it definitely has. I mean, we all can't forget what happened regarding fish, and we won't forget that ever. It's something that's going to be close to everyone's hearts who's been involved in the Volvo Ocean Race. But quite a different team in the sense that they did turn up to the start line with more of the private owner type backing with Mr. Lee, who's on board now. But what they really are a team of Scallywag, a bunch of fun. We have a great time with them, and they're going to put their hammer down all the way to the finish here and leave no stone unturned.
Mr. Lee driving right now. We can see him there to the right of screen. There's Mr. Lee. He's very experienced because he's got his own 100-foot maxi, but look at him right there. Wow, that is in the Volvo Ocean Race. He's driving his own boat on this final leg to the Hague. And I talked to David Witt this morning, and he said he's going to be working him like you wouldn't believe. He's going to be an extra member of the team as they come around one of the lighthouses here in the Southern Archipelago. Team Axo Nobel leading by around, what is that, 10 boat lengths over Dongfeng race team. Team Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. No crew changes, but always their crew list has always featured our friend John Fisher, Forever Fish. He's always on board with them in his own special way. We will always remember him. Okay, just behind them, Vestas 11th Hour Racing, then it's Team Brunel, but Sun Hun Kai Scallywag going, no problem at all. Mr. Lee knows how to drive that thing like it's stolen, right?
Yeah, he's got a cool stance there. He looks super into it, and he's really powered. He almost had the best first place start of the whole group, and now he's just not letting up at all.
Yeah, there we go, as the Sun Hun Kai Scallywag go around that beautiful picture. Great shots from the helicopter right there. Well, let's take a look at where they're going to go. They've come out here from Gothenburg through the Southern Archipelago. Then it's north. It's basically a beat up towards the southeast coast of Norway, and then it'll be downwind. This will be very tricky, tactical. There's all sorts of places to go, and then down to Aarhus. Anybody in Aarhus, get yourselves out tomorrow. After lunch, the boats will all be flying by. Then they've got to go back up north, another beat, so there'll be plenty of options around those islands. Turn left around the northern tip of Denmark in Skarsgård, and then it's plenty of breeze, a ripping reach down the west coast of Denmark. Then it starts to get light, and this is where the tricky decision will be. Go straight through the separation zones for the big ships, or you can actually go slightly to the north and west and go all around those and come in the light air into the Hague. It's going to be tricky right at the end in the light breeze for sure. Okay, here we go. Look, this is Aarhus right here, and Aarhus is a wonderful city. It hosts sailing events all around the world, and they've done a lovely job of making sure the Volvo Ocean Race does a flyby. It's a partnership with the local sailing club, the youth sailing and their sailing club. They're hosting the World Sailing Championships this summer, and that'll be an incredible event. So they've got a little teaser with the Volvo Ocean Race, and then we got the dinghy sailors coming in for their pre-Olympic regattas. Well, let's hear from the skippers, because yesterday we had them all in the press conference. There were plenty of difficult questions for them, and they gave us their answers. Let's hear them.
Well, a big leg coming for all of us, of course, and you know, I don't think, as I say the whole way around, I don't think we have to change much how we sail, how we do things. I think last leg as well we sailed very well, focus, and the most important, we've done a very good leg preparation, and you know, go out there and do a good start. It's going to be important again, and try to be in front of these two boats.
I think we feel less pressure because I think first of all we're in the flow. I just say something. If you look at the points table, we go faster every leg. Even last leg again we found some gears, and I think after the last leg we found again some gears. So I think that's a good thing. And I think we have the best team. Maybe in the beginning we did a couple of swaps, but I think we ended up with a team where we're really happy with. And I think last but not least, I'm sailing in my home waters. Denmark, I'm living in Denmark more than 25 years. And of course the place where we finish, I've grown up over there. So I think we have all the ingredients to win the race.
First, I will not believe you, because it's amazing to see three boats in the same points. But yes, of course, we are very happy where we are. We will have up a better finish, but for us, but it's good. It's a good fight, and I think these three teams deserve to win the race. So now it's about us to push the extra miles and to try to be ahead of them in La Hague. And we know it's going to be a big fight. It's good for the race, and we are excited by the next one and ready to go.
Any team here would say that if you can win the last one, you have experienced such an incredible journey over the last almost 2.5 years with each other, from the beginning till where you are now, and to close that off successfully, but also in your hometown, that would even be better.
You know, it's definitely been a difficult race for our team. A lot of ups and downs, and you know, had things maybe bounced a different way, maybe we'd be talking about 4 boats at the top. But you know, we are where we are, and you know, that is the case. We have grown stronger, certainly as a group, and I probably have as an individual as well, given all the adversity that we've faced.
For a team coming in with low budget and late and very inexperienced with a young crew, many would have written us off completely, and we've been much more competitive than everyone thought we would be in our sailing, and to not finish at the bottom of the pile would be, you know, the cherry on the cake for these guys. It's a huge achievement, and I'll be very proud of them. He's not going to let me there easy, though. I know that.
On who are you going to bet this time?
Oh, not changing. I'll double it if someone else will take it. I'll even triple it. That's how confident I am Bowie's going to win.
It's going to be a very interesting leg because it will be a lot of transition, a lot of wind, less wind, and so a lot of current. So yeah, I think it's going to be a big match.
Well, one of the major missions of the Volvo Ocean Race has been to bring the special moments, some of those passing moments that we saw in the North Sea with Brunel, some of the stories from on board, and the onboard reporters have done a super job of it. Sam Greenfield, Ugo Fonoya, Martin Kerazore, James Blake, Conrad Frost, Jeremy Lacordae, Jen Edney, and Rich Edwards. They're managed by Brian Carlin, who's done a great job, and it is wonderful to get all of this action direct, and they edit some of these videos down below and then send them back to us through that Inmarsat, through the Inmarsat satellites, and we will hear from some of them. Let's go to see the preparation that Mapfre started right when they hit the dock after the end of the last leg into Gothenburg.
And it's going to be quite an exciting last leg. The match, I thought they're a little too excited. They're really shouting for tomorrow. The fans want to see tomorrow. Oh, take me, it's my lucky day. How are you?
You know, I think the leg was pretty good. I mean, you said well, and obviously it's painful how these guys passed us, and this is what we have to work a little bit for the future. I don't know if we want to revisit the leg or not really, but I was thinking more or start putting the heads in the next one. You know, it was most like a forecast and working in whatever is coming more than thinking what we had to do before. Apart of, I think, Michel, pretty good because travel a couple of times. Obviously, we will talk about what we think, why they are faster or not, but truth is, we have no fucking idea.
That's the only thing. Otherwise, if somebody's got something he wants to talk through the last leg, but we'll talk what we do for the next leg.
There's not much point. Got one leg left, so like I say, it's only. There's some things probably we can do better from this leg that will help us for the next leg, but if there's nothing that's going to help us for the next leg, then there's not much point bringing it up.
Okay, we're back to some live pictures here. Team Brunel. Now, it looks like pretty much upwind. We're going to go with some perspective from the eye in the sky. Up there, Niall, tell us the latest.
Well, the big change from what we were seeing before is we're now on an upwind beat. It's short, sharp chop, and the bows are bouncing out of the water all the time. We've already seen a couple of the boats not being able to hold the clear air and having to tack out. Team Brunel is one of the boats that's actually been able to fare a little bit better. They are now crossing behind Sun Hunkai Scallywag. Dongfeng Race Team are a little way ahead of them, but Bauer Becking now has a bit of space to play with.
Yeah, it looks like he's come right back into this. How's he managed that a little faster?
It was a little bit of a gutsy move. They were one of the first boats to tack once they came round the mark, and they just played a short shift. They knew they were going to tack back, so they split the tack. Now they're coming back onto it. They still got some distance to go, but they're going to be able to play tactically now rather than just relying on boat speed.
Okay, thanks for that, Niall. We'll come back to you in a moment. Nick Bice, what's going on? Last little moments for Nick Bice. Okay, I think Nick Bice doing 40 knots somewhere, either chasing the fleet. We do have Sally right here, but we've got limited coverage as the boats get further and further away, but we can see there on the screen as Brunel pass underneath a bunch of these boats. And Sally, it's going to be tough. Big night, plenty of breeze.
For sure, big night, big, you know, obviously the strong wind is supposed to hold, the waves should get bigger, and it's going to be very tactical, and they're going to be making these choices about lanes, and do they stack, do they just get a quick clearing tack, which is what we just had with Brunel. You know, what mode do they choose? Do they choose true upwind or just a click faster to get around somebody? And then the shifts are going to be in play as well, because remember, there's plenty of land around right here, so plenty to happen tonight.
Yeah, and here we got pictures of Bauer-Becking. He's already on the charge, trying to get to the front of the fleet. And Bauer is his 8th Volvo Ocean Race. I think I might have said that once or twice before, but he knows all about pressure. If there's one man that knows about pressure, it's Bauer-Becking. Let's hear.
I think it's just, I think a lot of people wonder how the pressure is, and it's maybe pretty strange, but I think when you're getting older and you've done the race so many times, I think the pressure part is more or less gone. So it's not something like, I think it's a classic example. So it feels like your last breakfast. I think it's something like you expected. I feel like, oh, pressure is on. So, but I think that's probably the strange thing, that the pressure is actually not high at all. Just have to do a yard race and we have to bloody win.
It's his birthday! 35!
Keep on dreaming. It's good when you have a young wife. It keeps you young. The most beautiful wife in the world. Come, Miska, go. It's just a yard race. And the yard race we have to win. You're not getting nervous now for a yard race, are you? Would you keep it? No.
And then there is tension
that's one of the
before they go, which is good. But that's something else than being nervous, yeah?
I think some guys and girls are thinking too much. Just keep it simple. I think it's the classic one from Olympics. People going really, really well in all the pre-leading up, and then they break.
Yeah. Or do a lot of complex stuff.
Yeah, make it complicated when they not focusing really good on it.
No, the traffic. KP, how do you handle tension?
Don't feel it. Never happens.
Oh,
let's wait.
Nice, yeah?
That'd be very nice, but not that nice.
It's all right. Yeah. Cool.
It's just a race.
Look at me, guys.
Yeah, we look at you. Don't worry. Do they know this or their cell phones?
There's only one scenario: bloody win this race. That's it's not only for the team, but as well like for yourself, for our sponsors, for the shore crew. And we're in the flow. We're going well, and I think we can do it. So I'm not thinking too much about it. I know you guys still ask a lot about it, but it's just a yard race, and I think Pete is just, you know, he just jumped in with Shirley as well. So yeah, we just did the sheeter on and off we go. Don't think too much about it. Oh, it will be nice to win it, of course. That's always one of these things. I haven't ticked it off yet. I always say some events you have to tick off, and this is one of the events. Would be nice if we can tick it off. But then on the other hand, I know as well that only one can win, and if I don't win, I still can sleep. So that's the thing, what I know.
How many times do you think you've said that exact answer to in the last 2 weeks?
You probably know better than I do, but that's how I think. That's how that's who I am. So I won't change the thing in that sense.
Kein Problem, können wir auch Deutsch reden.
Oh, super.
Viel Spaß heute.
Thanks
for it. Yeah, go for it. Oh, what's your birthday wish today?
Birthday wish, winning in the Hague.
Yeah, I bet it's his birthday wish to win in The Hague. They're talking about 100,000 people or more as we get in. Here we go, live on the tracker right now. Team Brunel and Axo Nobel to the left of the fleet. Everyone else has now tack on to port. Dongfeng Race Team and Axo Nobel leading the fleet. There's Charles Caudrelier at the front of the fleet. Those are OBR little videos that we've got for you, because we are getting to the end of our helicopter range and of the range where the TV pictures can get back here to the studio. So we'll bring you live pictures whenever we can. And remember, as soon as we're off air, we're going to go to the tracker, and then we're going to have the helicopter refueled, and we're going to go back out to follow the helicopter over the next 3 days. I can tell you it's going to be exciting. There is Escoffier right there. He's got his hand on his chin, wondering how this is all going to end up. Niall, if we still got you up in the helicopter, we're looking at pictures of Dongfeng Race Team. How are they doing?
Yeah, they're doing nicely at the moment. They've got one eye on Mafre down to their right-hand side, down to Lewis. They've got one eye on Team Brunel over their left shoulder. The fleet now going upwind. You're forced to allow your opponents to split one side and the other if that's what they care to do. The main thing for Dongfeng Race Team is they've got a bit of space around them. They can carve their way through this short, sharp chop, keep the boat speed up and keep their tactical options open. Mafre are coming back over. That's going to be very good news for Charles Caudrelier, because he's going to have an option in a minute or two to tack over and sit on top of the Spanish boat and lock down their options.
Well, the race has started in earnest already, Sally, and now going upwind. This is difficult because it's about boat speed, it's about tactics and covering your opposition.
Yeah, not much sleep's going to be happening, that's for sure. It's full on here, and you see everybody on deck, and it's full effort. So it's going to be the small shifts as well. I think we've seen, if you look at the tracker a little closely, the angle changes. Vestas 11th hour taking a nice angle out there, and a bit of legs, bit of boat speed to put them, clear in front of Mapfre, as Mapfre is going behind right now, and bit bow forward on Dongfeng and the rest of the group.
Yeah, you're not going to be the one that says, I'm just going down for a quick nap, are you? On Mapfre, look at them all on the windward side. All the stack is right there. They are checking trim. Look at that jib, that's perfectly trimmed. So just talk to us about the trim there on the sails. This is where all the power is generated to drive them forwards.
That's right. So I talked a little bit before about the balance. So basically you have the front sail, the jib, and the sail in the back, which is the main sail. And you can control the depth and the power of both of those sails by the sheets, by the trim angle. And the jib in the front specifically has up-down sheets, basically, that you can pull the leech tighter or pull the foot tighter, pull the power out of the sail, or put the power back into the sail. So these guys are adjusting these leads, we call them jib leads, all the time. Not over every single wave, but for sure, from each tack, from the shift and the angle of the waves, they'll be trying to find that perfect balance.
Look at their level of detail on Mapfre. They've got sponsor logos on top of the spreaders. Good for them. Sorry, just to take you away from that technical moment,
right.
Sally.
That's for the helicopter shot, right? Get the money shot there.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you are going upwind, you want that in as tight as possible, but what happens if you pull it in too much?
If you pull it in too much, yeah, basically you might just have too much power. So on a condition like this where it's wavy and it's windy, they're looking for a little bit of twist in the sail. So they'll have it tight at the bottom to reduce the power, and then also letting it free basically at the top, and you'll see the mainsail specifically twist off because it's super hard to control up there, but it's also relieving some of the power and keeping the boat driving forward at an even angle.
Okay, Niall in the helicopter with Mapfre, and we've been looking down from your helicopter shots. Talk to us about the shape of the sails and what that does.
Well, right now, Mapfre are trying to balance the power that they've got. There's plenty of breeze out here, more than enough. They've got to try and get it to drive them forward, not just lean the boat too far over, drive them forward. And in the last 5 minutes, I mean, I don't really want to cast aspersions about Xavi Fernandez's skill as a sailor, but they have been losing out. The boat that's really punished them has been turn the tide on plastic. In fact, just now, as we're following Mapfre, they are now going behind Di Cafari. Those two boats were neck and neck round the lighthouse, but Mapfre has lost out. This has been a big problem for Xavi Fernandez. He's had to tack out, find some clear air. They obviously haven't yet found the right gear.
Yeah, it looks like they were headed as they tacked off initially, and as you say, Niall, they've lost a bit out. So now what are they going to do? Are they going to carry on to try and get clear air? Where do you see the breeze? How much breeze is there out there?
Well, there's a lot of breeze. It's a lot clearer now that we're round out into the open sea. One way you can tell whether you're going the right way on a race course is to look at the boats around you and see who else is going your way. At the moment, Mafre are the only boat on the tack. So if they are on a lift, they're the only boat that's noticed it.
Yeah, right. We've got pictures on board there now. Blair Tuke looking up over the shoulders of all his compatriots, and Pablo Arate still driving right now as they bounce up and down. Looks like a short chop. What have we got there? 16 to 18 knots of breeze, 14 to 16, Niall?
I'd say about that, yeah, we've seen a little bit more as they came round the lighthouse, and the chop really kicked in hard as they came onto the breeze. But looking upwind, looking across the course, it looks really nice and steady. Plenty of white caps, plenty of breeze to power you through these waves. 16 knots from 260. That's from the west, given us by Vestas wind, bringing us all that data. Brilliant to have them on board, as we are with Mafre. Although already on the back foot after that start, just shows you, Sally, what just the smallest of mistakes can mean. They didn't quite get it right off the starting line, and now Mafre and Brunel in 6th and 7th. Wow.
Yeah, it just goes to show that, you know, when you're on the back foot like this course is a little bit technical, and you could overcomplicate things, you know, instead of, you see, you know, Turn the Tide on Plastic and a Vestas 11th Hour Racing, just legging it out there, keeping it quite simple. Let's stay on the lifted tack, guys. Let's not do too many maneuvers right now. And we're probably going to gain on the other guys who are trying to, you know, outsmart everybody and try to win this race from the back of the fleet.
Okay, that that leaderboard there just giving you a little bit of a unrealistic view of who's leading, because at the moment it is between Axo Nobel and Dongfeng who are leading on the upwind, as it were. Look at that, beautiful. Those summer houses in Sweden. Look at that. You'd be happy to spend a few weeks on there. Turn your phone off and enjoy a bit of peace and quiet in the Swedish archipelago. That's what they're so good at. Lovely. And those pictures of the boats in the background. Beautiful shots. That's Matt Connor up in the helicopter with Niall bringing us all this stuff. And you can see the connection. Just we're holding on to it as long as we can. Then we're going to play you some of those videos from the onboard reporters that they all put together. And Brian Carlin saying he's happy not to be doing this one. It looks like it's going to be pretty bumpy for the first 24 hours. And the North Sea and this area of the Baltic, renowned for a short chop because it's quite shallow relatively. So those waves whip up pretty quickly. And while we've got Niall in the helicopter, just give us your view on that those lovely scenes that we can spot from the helicopter.
The area around here that we're racing through is absolutely gorgeous. I've got my eyes fixed on the boats, but every so often, I've got to say, I do get distracted. It's an absolutely gorgeous coastline right now. But one thing to know at the moment, we're just flying over towards Sunhunkai Scallywag and Dongfeng Race Team. And I just want to point out the fact that Dongfeng Race Team is still sailing on port tack over to the right-hand side of the course. That's significant because Team Brunel and now Mafre are all the way out on the left-hand side. That, to me, well, it shows pretty much confidence. Pascal Badigari, the navigator on board Dongfeng Race Team, thinks, well, our opposition are over there. We could go with them, but actually, this is the right way to go. This is how we're going to win the leg.
Yeah, well, there's... looks like they might be thinking about attack. Stu Bannatyne there getting a bit nervous on his 7th Volvo Ocean Race. He's got plenty of experience. And it is not just about the skipper, Charles Caudrelier. It is about this crew as well. And the whole team. Let's hear from Jackson Boutel and a few others, the crew on board Dongfeng Race Team.
And I picked up Matisse at 11:40.
He's just arrived this morning.
Very good, cannot sleep well. Because Jackson.
I think this guy just slept the whole day. That's why he looks so good. Never come on deck.
Now they arrived.
Not too bad. We can win the next leg.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
So,
but we're in the.
We have to maybe to do a little bit more. Everyone, but we don't care. Well, the only thing for me is no good. When I look the ranking, we are 3rd, and it's not true.
More important race is your last one.
especially in America's Cup. And the next one is very true for the next one. That's the one that, and it's very good. And we're in good place. We're very good where we are. It's very good.
We can't forget we've been the best boat in the fleet most of the time. I think we've got an amazing bunch of people. We've got an amazing shore crew. I think we've got the best team in general, and we've achieved amazing things. We've been top 3 nearly every leg. We've never won a leg, unfortunately. We've won more than, I think we've won half of the import races. We've sailed around the world together. We haven't killed each other yet. I think we've come close, but especially you. You know, like for sure there's things thinking back I could have done better, but for the next leg I think it's really to not have any regret. Charles, you know, I know you're good enough to win. I know you're the best guy I've sailed with, 100%. I know you've got it in you to do it, and Pascal as well, you're one of the best navigators I've sailed with. I know you can do it. I know we can all do it. Caroline, you're an amazing trimmer. Daryl, you're an amazing driver. Kevin, you're terrible, but you know. But I think everything's there. It's just not to doubt ourselves. Do what we did. Like, remember the first legs? We never thought, the only boat was ever a bit Mapfre, but we never had doubts that we couldn't do it. And we always all thereabouts. So I think it's to fight. Everything's there, and just take it on. That was a bit of a speech, sorry. But
Jack, you speak too much.
I'm really surprised I never heard this.
All of a sudden.
Good job.
In 9 months we are waiting for that.
Yeah.
9 months.
It's the right time, huh? It's the right
time to bring it.
And I'm not disappointed. I'm very excited about the situation. It could be better for sure. We could be leading with a lot of points, but it's a very exciting situation to be free boat too. So we will see.
Charles pressing the wrong button in the lift, but it's amazing to get this incredible access inside the teams, and the onboard reporters embedded with the teams doing a great job. And we are, just to remind you, getting out of range for the helicopter. Bicey's no longer with us, and that is why we're giving you some of these videos as we get here, and we can see there Axo Nobel just fighting it out. This is, we come back to you when we've got helicopter pictures and when we've still got the connection here. Team Axo Nobel on the windward side of the fleet as they head upwind. Remember, we are going to put the helicopter up whenever we can get it near to shore, whenever we can get the boats in over the next 3 days. You're not going to miss a minute. It's great to see some of you so passionate. Put on Facebook, Martin Grail talking about where the rest of the opposition are. Nikolai Sersted driving right now on board. This is great. Managed to get some of the onboard cameras there, still in range. So we'll stick with these just for a moment as we watch Martin Grail there. Maybe there's a slight, are they coming to a cross here or something? No, they're just looking to leeward of them, where turn the tide on plastic, it's a leeward. Then it's Dongfeng Race Team. Then underneath them is Vestas 11th Hour Racing and Sun Hung Kai Scallywag. Just to windward of Team Axo Nobel are Mapfre and Team Brunel. And I gotta say, Dongfeng Race Team are putting it out there. They haven't tacked back, and I wonder whether this left-hand side's actually looking all right. Can Dongfeng, Sally, do you reckon Dongfeng can tack right there and still be ahead of Axo Nobel, Team Brunel and Mapfre?
It's a little bit of a difficult call from here, but I think, you know, what we can see is a little bit of a trend in the tracker, which would, you know, arguably say that there is a bit of a left-hand shift happening, and that's probably why Mapfre had to step it up and stay to the left.
Okay, well, I think we may still just have Niall in the helicopter. Answer that question, Niall.
I knew you were going to put me on the spot. I tell you one thing I can say is there's a lot more breeze at the moment coming down on the left-hand side of the track. It looks like it's being driven by a bit of cloud coming across the racecourse. So the left still got something to give. And as you quite rightly pointed out, Dongfeng Race Team, I mean, they are, at the moment, very committed to the right.
Yeah, if they tacked right now, do you think they could get back to Team Brunel, to Axo Nobel on the left-hand side?
I think they could definitely cross Mapfre. I think they could cause problems for Team Brunel. Team Axo Nobel, on the other hand, they are looking pretty strong here. They're up in first place, and they're looking very confident indeed.
Okay, great stuff. Well, there's Axo Nobel. They're sort of on the left-hand side of this shift, and we're not entirely sure about the ranking right now because of the way that the waypoints are calculated. Those super fans who follow this race for the last 9 months will know what we're talking about. So we're going to enjoy the pictures, and here we are with Team Axo Nobel. Martin Grail talking to Nikolai Sersted, two of the younger members on the team, and it does change your life. Sally, you know it, but Team Axo Nobel with Luke Malloy and Brad Ferrand can give us a little insight into how this race can turn you around and what you learn. Nikolai Sersted there, just look at that. He's just so precise. A match racer of particular note. He is extremely accomplished in all the crew. This looks like a short race. I mean, 700 miles, it's basically the same as some of these offshore races like the Sydney Hobart, the Fastnet race, the Newport Bermuda, these blue water classics around the world, and this is the same distance, around 600 or 700 miles. And Nikolai Sersted and Martin Grail, two of the younger members on board, and their first, for Martin, her first Volvo Ocean Race, and I tell you, this changes you for sure. Let's listen from them directly.
I think this race has changed you at all as a person?
Yeah, I reckon.
In what way?
My hands are a lot more rough. Got a few more wrinkles on my face, I think. What about you, Luke? Have you changed at all?
Yeah, I think I've changed a little bit. I'm definitely. I think being on watch with you has been a good thing. You know, I was feeling a little old there before the start, and you seem to have really brought out the youth in me.
I mean, I see you've got an Instagram, you've got a Twitter, you're on Facebook a bit. It's all part of it. But the sailing skills that I've learned, a lot of them have come from you. Seriously. And thanks for that.
You're welcome, Brad. Yeah, we've all come a long way together. I think one thing we've always said from the start was that at the end of this, no matter what happens, we all still got to be friends at the end of it. And I think we're definitely all still very friendly and probably all meet up at some stage and happy to still have each other's company, which I think is a huge achievement after living in a shoebox for 9 months together.
The beard, I actually grew that so the sun didn't get exposed to the skin underneath, so when I shave it off, I've still got a baby face. I like it.
The team has come along. I think our results prove it. You know, since Melbourne, we've got a bit more stability with the people we've had. We've only had a few changes, and they were mainly through injury. And then the results have been on the podium quite often since then. So I think that shows that you know, trying to keep everyone stable and balanced and performing well end results in good results on the scoreboard. I think you'll still dye your hair after the race, or?
Well, we cut back on the range, yeah, go for it.
Team Axo Nobel, they're on the windward side of the race course, just to lure Dongfeng race team. Turn the tide on plastic safely to windward of them, Team Brunel and Matt Frey. But it's Dongfeng race team who are making the early charges. They, along with Vestas 11th Hour Racing, leading towards that right-hand side. And Vestas 11th Hour Racing have had quite the roller coaster ride. Not everyone can win, but getting around the world has its own challenges for everybody. Oh, look at that, Vestas 11th Hour. Beautiful pictures from the helicopter. Let's stick with these from the moment now. Sally, tell us what's on top of the mast there. Look at that.
So so a lot of wind instruments, basically the wand they call it, the very tall one there, bringing in all the data to the boat and driving all the information coming down to the B&Gs, coming down to what the guys driving the boat and trimming it are trimming from, getting wind readings, getting speed. You know, from the speed one comes from the bottom of the boat, but it's bringing all the data down in, and when those break, then it's quite difficult. You have to get a new one up there, plug it in, and it actually adds quite a lot of detail to the sailing. So you're talking about percentages, which is basically calculated through all of the information coming down from the rig.
Yeah, look at that. Their very own Vestas wind instruments, and 11th Hour Racing also doing a brilliant job of bringing their message of ocean sustainability, and they go really deep into the philosophy of how we can reuse, recycle, but mainly now is the mission to refuse and to try and make sure that plastic just doesn't start in the system, so it doesn't actually have to be dealt with at the end. So We're trying to get rid of the plastic all around. There's pictures there of, well, look at that, Roy Disney. He's the man. He started with those guys over 10 years ago with the Morning Light Project when they did the Transpac race. And Mark Towle and Charlie Enright have done a great job of formulating this team, of moulding it in their vision. They were part of the Alva Medica team for the last event, and they won that final leg in, which was great for them. And they have done a super job. We'll go up to the helicopter. Niall, just tell us your thoughts about how Mark and Charlie have matured as skippers and campaign managers for this team.
Well, you're absolutely right when you say matured. In the last edition of the race on board Alva Medica, they really tried to set up a team with no egos. It was all going to be about the sailing, the teamwork, and it feels to me like they've carried that ethos on to Vestas 11th Hour Racing. It's a team that is very approachable, quite open. In fact, I know you were talking to their performance analyst on the dock this morning. He's somebody that's been sharing a lot of the insights, helping our team out with the Volvo Ocean Race about what's going to happen and how. And it's often the team you see smiling. Of course, we know what they've been through. We know that the hardships they've had to face. But it's no surprise to see this team bouncing back, staying together and working hard.
Yeah, Tom Johnson there, just as you were saying that, having a laugh and a joke with the main sheet trimmer, Tony Mutter. I sailed with Tony over 20 years ago now, my word, in World Match Race Tour, and we did the Bermuda Gold Cup, and they are, as you say, very friendly. Tom Johnson there and Nick Dana, Phil Harmer, who won with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, and he won with Group Harmer. There's Jenna Mai Hansen, a Danish Olympic sailor coming down, and tell you, it's great work from them, from Charlie and Mark, and they've performed incredibly, winning that first leg. They're looking to win this last leg, but not everyone can win. And getting around the world has its own particular challenges. Let's hear from them.
Holding that angle, don't come down. You've got to come up. Go deploy. Everyone in mind. Landing in 3, 2, 1. We're red.
We're looking forward to the last leg of the race now. Leg 11, it's going to be a short sprint, but we're hoping for a good result to end what's been quite a challenging campaign. I think it's going to be a fascinating race to watch, and a little bit sad, obviously, that we're not in the position to fight as well. But with the three top boats marking each other, it will create some nice little opportunities for us to slide by and hopefully come in ahead of them.
It's tough for us to be kind of sitting on the sidelines here, as it pertains to the leaderboard going into the last race, because we feel like had the ball bounced differently, we'd be right up there. But the fact of the matter is we're not, and we have the opportunity to play spoiler for some of these guys and close out the race on a strong note. We started by winning the first leg, and we'd love nothing more than to win into the Hague and bookend this thing. But whoever does win will certainly be very deserving.
Okay, here's the tracker. Back to the tracker. We're definitely getting out of range now for Niall and the helicopter, but we will bring you all of that stuff when we get the helicopter back up. And we're gonna, there we go. We've still got some pictures. Just the last little sips of fuel in the helicopter, I can tell you. Sally, what do you see there? This is a classic ocean race scene right now.
It is. What a nice little spread of the fleet. You're seeing kind of maybe 3 different groups. You have this group over here to the right, which is quite nice because they're moding off each other, taking that bow forward mode, and then the group to the left, which is the Mabfree, the Axonoble, and the Brunel, probably benefiting from this left-hand shift and not really trying to drive forward. And yeah, right now you could almost argue how well they all are very close, and probably closer than they're advertising here on the tracker.
Yeah, well, that left-hand shift maybe giving something back to Team Brunel and Mabfree furthest on the left, but Team Brunel definitely still ahead of Mabfree. Dip into the tracker, folks, as we get this broadcast done, because over the next 3 days, that tracker is going to be for the addicts among us. Don't miss a moment. And we got a great picture there of Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. And they've got a lot of young folks on board, rookies, if you will, and it's been an eye-opener for everybody on board.
I remember talking to some people before the race, asking them what it was like, and they just said, yeah, it's a long race and just be prepared for anything to happen. And yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster of emotion, and yeah, it's been everything they've said. But when you're actually living it day in, day out, it's pretty, yeah, it's tough, but it's yeah, a really good experience.
In one word, it's definitely been a roller coaster. It's just like I would, in forehand, I never expected to experience all what happened in the last 9 months. Yeah, it's been crazy.
I think I'd be pretty silly to say I haven't changed. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened during the race, and yeah, I think I've changed for the better for sure, and hopefully I'm a better sailor for it all.
I think I'm 10 years older now. Yeah, and I learned a lot about myself, just how I deal with certain extreme situations. You know, you win, big wins, big losses, the loss of fish is all, yeah, I think it has a big impact, and yeah, that probably changed me.
Yeah, your perspective on things in life and how things should go and how you should be as a person changed definitely. And yeah, I think this race is, because it demands so much of you personally and physically and emotionally, you change your whole outlook on how things are and how you are as a person. And yeah, I guess it'll be kind of tough settling into normal life after this a little bit.
The plan is to finish first in The Hague, because you know, if you're getting there, you better be first. So that's the plan, and then we see how it will work out. We didn't do that well in the last 3 legs, so we definitely want to finish with a good result.
We got Turn the Tide, that are a good team, and we're like pretty much fighting out for them to not finish last place. But I think for the team, it's not really about that, and I don't think it's about that for Turn the Tide either. It's about kind of just sailing the best we can each leg and seeing what happens. So I think everyone's excited to start the last leg and give it a really good crack and kind of finish the Volvo on a good high and have good memories of the last leg and last couple of days.
Yeah, it's going to be full of emotions, because it's going to be the finish of something special we did together. And then probably time for reflection and looking forward. Everything all together, I think. A lot of emotions.
Obviously, because it's my first Volvo, there's things I want to do completely different and things I want to do the same. And you know, I think that's what the race is all about. And I think you know, if you can finish one and kind of do another one, that's where you can really kind of step it up and make sure you don't make the same mistakes, and you can learn from everything, and you're a way better sailor. And I think that's the power of the Volvo, and if you can be young and do it, it's awesome.
There we go with the tracker right there, Dongfeng race team stretching out, but it does look like maybe that left-hand side is coming good. Well, it'll all pan out on the tracker, on the live stuff. Maybe we've still got Niall in the helicopter. Let's go up to Niall with the latest. Niall, tell us what's going on. Who's winning?
Well, who's winning is a bit of a big call, but right now I'm going to say Team Axonabel, and the left is starting to look better. Team Brunel, Mafre, they're all over that side. We're flying low at the moment, just to the leeward side of Turn the Tide on Plastic, and we know that the breeze is looking to increase. It's going to be interesting for the boats on the right for here on out.
Okay, we got brilliant pictures of Turn the Tide on Plastic, and it is amazing, Niall, how much distance can be separated with just a minute or two of extra tack on starboard before they came back here. The separation big. Let's just summarise briefly. Okay, well, we're getting to the last moments there on the helicopter. Sally, look at that. Turn the Tide on Plastic, a great team. Look, who can we? That's got to be Annalise.
Annalise Murphy, yeah.
Yeah, And we got everyone sitting on the windward side right there. Turn the tide on plastic. Great team.
Great team, really. You know, we've talked about them before, how far they've come along, but right now they've really put their skills into each role on the boat, and we've seen them made some changes in the import races, but made some changes on this leg start beginning, and they've actually made some watch system changes as well. So they're just continually trying to improve as a group.
Well, some of the kids talked to us earlier about the journey that they've come on all the way around the world, starting in Alicante in Spain and traveling across the world's biggest and toughest oceans. And they have a little look back at everything they've achieved.
Looking back, you kind of think, wow, it's been a long time, but it's also gone so very quickly. It's crazy to think that's 9 months it's gone and we've sailed the whole way around the world. 500-600 miles, and it's going to be all over. I'd like to see the final legs of this race as a whole lot of improvement from our team, and almost as if we took some big steps. You know, if we could have started the race like we are now, we'd probably be in a very good position. It's interesting going into the last leg. I mean, there's obviously the top 3 boats that have the title to fight for, but other than them, there's only 2 other boats, and we are one of them, that have actually something to win or lose on this last leg. So us and Scallywag basically are fighting it out for the wooden spoon. For us, it's almost as if we're on the climb up at the end of the race. So for us to be able to, you know, finish in front of them and pull it off would be a huge achievement, I think, for this team. And I think we can do it. I've got 100% confidence in the team, and the way we've built up over the last few legs and the way we've been constantly growing, it's been great. So I'm really excited to go in and hopefully just smash it out. We changed a few things up for sort of the import stuff and also the leg starts. And so I've basically been moved to the main sheet trim, and we've got blend and steering as we saw in Cardiff and also in the import race. It's a positive change for sure, and I think we work well together, and hopefully we can get the boat going and get a good result. When you're pushed to your limits, you really do. You find out things about yourself and about the team and about how people mix. And I don't think it's only until you go to those limits, and it's only until you push yourself past those places that you see those things. So it's a whole another experience on life that I don't think many people get to experience. To get to the end of the race and to say that you want to do it again, I think that means that you've had some fun and you really enjoy the experience. And I wake up every day here and sometimes have to pinch myself and say, wow, am I actually doing this? Like, this was my dream and now I'm here doing it. It's about to come to an end and I want to do another one.
Such an exciting drag race, and this gives all of the teams a real opportunity to see who's faster, to make a few of those little changes that they were talking about, that Lucas was talking about, and this gives us an idea of where the teams are going. And there has been a bit of a left-hand shift there, and that certainly will benefit Team Brunel and Mapfre when it comes to the next tack. And they've got to go up there towards Gate 6, so that's on the southeastern side of Norway, and then they will go downwind all the way to Aarhus on the eastern shore of Denmark. Then they'll go back around the northern point of Denmark there, and then south to the Hague. So that just gives us a little bit of a perspective. You can see Vestas 11th Hour Racing there, just on the tracker, leading the fleet by 11 meters. Not a lot. This is going to be a boat race, and they're beautiful pictures. There are final pictures from the helicopter as they all head into the ocean for this 700-mile final sprint. Amazing. And yeah, we've lovely to see you all on Facebook. Make sure you tell us who you're supporting, give us the hearts and all that social media stuff, because all the teams see it, they all track it, and we love to hear from all of our supporters here. It's a great way to watch the racing, and we've got plenty of people pitching for all of the teams, and there is no one team that gets all the love. And we were down in the race village over the last few days canvassing for opinions.
Who do you think is going to win the race overall?
I think maybe Mapfre.
Oh, who do you think? I think Vestas lost his chances, but
but I think Mapfre will win.
Team Brunel, I think.
Maybe Mapfre. I think it's very exciting because the results are so. I think 3 teams are so close.
Probably Brunel. We'll go for Brunel.
I think Brunel is going to win.
I think that Mapfre going to win.
Mapfre.
Brunel.
Boa's earned it, hasn't he? Go Boa.
Who's going to win?
Yeah, which boat do you think is going
Brunel.
Don't vote he will win.
Who's going to win? Come on, Sally, I keep asking you. It's really hard. I mean, hard to know, huh?
Hard to know, and especially when you look at what's happening right now. I mean, essentially everybody is on the long tack, and it's just going to be the inches that matter. So go everybody. How's that?
Right. I mean, this is what it is. Real sport. We've seen Volvo Ocean Race finishes that have been done by 2 or 3 legs prior to the finish. This, real sport.
This is really sport, and it's really what all these athletes now are happy to be out there to try to achieve. And if you can get it together and make a good couple choices and you end up winning this, all the power to you.
Yeah, exactly. And Dongfang race team right there. Team Axo Nobel on board them on this slightly nudging left-hand breeze. Nikolai Serstedt, look at him, he is working it. They can see a little opportunity here. They're just looking to their opposition on the left. Do they bow up? Or they bow down? Nikolai, a match racer, will be keen eyes on that, right, Sally?
Keen eyes, and they keep, yeah, like you said, they keep looking over their shoulder. The team keeps looking under the boom. Are they matching angle? Are they matching speed? And it's not just a drag race, as we're saying. It's a technical drag race where they are trying to make these improvements as they go.
Yeah, I think that left-hand side might be coming good for them. Those 3 on the left: Mapfre, Axo Nobel, and Team Brunel. Well, amazing. Sally, it's been great to have you here. Thank you very much as we watch these beautiful pictures as the boats sail off into the midsummer sun on this auspicious midsummer day. I'd just like to thank the brilliant TV team who've here traveled the world, and the crew in Alicante, all our special guests, my co-commentators, Nick Bice, Niall, Conrad, and obviously Sally Barkow here in the studio. It's been an adventure with the final chapter playing out right here on the water. We got the tracker, we got live, we've got all sorts of action over the next 3 days, and estimated arrivals on the 24th of June on Sunday after lunch in The Hague. We'll have the helicopter up, the live tracker. Watch it, follow it, tune in. It's been a pleasure. Fantastic stuff. Don't miss a moment of the action in this thrilling 700-mile sprint to the finish. Join us on Facebook at Volvo Ocean Race. Check out all the brilliant pictures on Instagram, hashtag Volvo Ocean Race, and get deeper into the conversation on Twitter. And we've got @RaceExperts for all of your questions. We'll be going live into the action as often as possible and hearing from our hosts, Niall and Conrad.
Just as we've done for the past 8 months, the team here in Race Headquarters in Alicante are going to be bringing you the latest story using our regularly scheduled programming, the quick fix in the morning and then the daily show in the middle of the day, European time. But uniquely for this leg, we're going to be jumping live to the boats with every possible opportunity. So take your phone, take your computer, slip it into your pocket, put it underneath your pillow when you go to sleep at night. We're going to be pinging you relentlessly whenever anything happens out on the water. While I'm doing that, Niall Best, my normal co-host here in Spain, is going to be doing an extra special mission up somewhere in Northern Europe.
I'm going to be staying with a bird's eye view and the helicopter as we chase the fleet over to Aarhus and then to The Hague, where the winner of this edition of the Volvo Ocean Race will be crowned. We're going to be bringing you live aerial coverage, plus interviews from the sailors and all the analysis. You do not want to miss it.
If you want to beat us, you will have to fight.
We actually think we can win this thing.
3 of us are now fighting all the way to the end for this Volvo.
In the 45-year history of the race, it's never been closer. After a grueling battle around the world, just a 700-mile sprint to go. Follow every tack and jibe, frustration and glory. One team will win the Volvo Ocean Race.